Hi, I'm going to give you an overview of MyRouteApp and how to plan a navigation that can be shared with people so to make sure that they go on the right routes. This is something I knocked up just now on MyRouteApp. If you're not familiar with MyRouteApp, there is you can go on to their website where you can see their products. You can see the one that I'm using here costs €39 a year, 30 quid, which I think is good value for a really good piece of kit. You can have it on your phone, or I have it on my phone. It all comes as part of the package, where I can do route planning on the phone as well as on the desktop or laptop. And I gotta say, whilst you can do it, it is very fiddly and not that accurate when you're messing about on a tiny screen on the phone. Much prefer, as you'll see when I say about accuracy, to use a PC to do the software. You can then load them directly onto your navigation device from a laptop, not from the phone. It shows a TomTom here. I loved my TomTom. I used it on TomTom for many years and I can't speak highly enough of it. I now have a Garmin, which is not as good as the TomTom, and I will show you how I use MyRouteApp with TomTom and Garmin so that you can export your items to it, avoiding using the horrible Basecamp that comes with Garmin. Absolutely terrible piece of software. Anyway, that's the basics. You can get it from here. The navigation one you can load straight onto your phone, so you can use the phone as a navigator if you haven't got a TomTom or Garmin, which is quite useful. But I only use the route planner personally because I've got navigation devices. I don't need to have it on my phone as a navigation device. So dropping back down, if I go back into the Route Lab on this one, this is the home screen that you get as soon as you, when you first open up. It shows you can go the last route, you can create a new route, you can create a round tour route, you can upload GPX files into your library. Your routes are all there. Your track logs, because you can actually save track logs, are all there. I don't use that personally. This I don't worry about at all. I never use the library because they're what other people have done, and most of them are not in this country, and I don't care about my achievements either. On the left you'll see I've got friends. These are people who are linked to me. They can pick up my routes, my tracks, which are in here, and I'll show you about those later, without me having to send them to them. So you may notice they're all blue knights, funny enough. You've got all sorts of information below, which is very useful. Got my recently edited routes are in there. You've got video tutorials down the bottom, and you can see the way that they put their routes together. This is the couple of gentlemen who've created this are based in the Netherlands, and I think they've done a fantastic job personally. So if I go back in, first of all I'm going to just click on my routes just to show you how it's all set up for me. I've got two folders up above. I've got my Blue Knights rides, and most of those I've made public so that my friends can see them, and they're in there. You can see that's some of the rides that I've done. This is Shopton one we've done earlier this year. We've done this is the one we're doing tomorrow. This is one we are looking at for the future. This is one we've done in the past, which is absolutely fantastic. You can see I've got my low ride things in there for when I went up for the low ride recently. The summer camp ride is in there. They're all in there. So these are the sort of things that I've put in. I've actually planned routes which we haven't used yet, to be fair. So they're all in there. If I go back to the parent folder, I've also got the observer routes where I take my advanced rider candidates out, and I make sure I've got roads that will cover all of their needs for their training sessions. And then I've got other routes that I've put in for particular reasons. As you can see, I've got Harlech, Carnarvon, Snowdon Circuit, which is one I did with my wife when we were away in the motorhome. We were staying up at Harlech. That's when I took my wife up to the Honey Cafe just for lunch, and we did a little ride around. You know, Dragon's Back, Honey Cafe, Dom's. That was another route I did recently. So it was lovely little routes. So I do some with my own. You know. Some of these are routes I've put in because when we're away with the motorhome, I do little tours. So as you can see, there's where I was staying down in Sidmouth there. You know, I had 2 routes down there that I could use. So let's go back to the home screen, RouteLab. I'm going to show you how to create a new route. Bing. So we click on that. First thing it asks you for is a name. So I'm just going to call this training 2. Private, I'm going to keep it private, but I've got the option of making it public, friends, or private on there. And then driving, I got the option then of doing 2 other things which I don't want to do, so I'm going to keep it on driving. That's it. I could set departure time and date if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that now because it's only just a little training video. Click OK, and it comes up with this map. It always defaults to OpenStreetMap. Now OpenStreetMap, I'm afraid I don't use at all. I always default to here. The reason I default to here is because that's the map that's used by my Garmin. I can default to TomTom, and any of you who have a TomTom will look at that and say, yeah, that looks like a TomTom map, because that's exactly what it is. It is the TomTom map. So I put the here back in because that's the Garmin map. But I don't have to stick with that. In fact, most of my route planning I do on Google Maps. Even though I've defaulted to here on there, I can change the map for all sorts of different things here, all the way down through. But I'm going to put it onto Google Maps, and the reason I'm going to put it onto Google Maps is because if I'm looking for something in particular, then you'll be able to see on the map, because it's got lots of overlaid information on there, the same as, you know, all the businesses, etc. You know, so it's quite simple. So we'll start there. We'll just leave it there for the time being. Now then, if I click down on here, it's showing waypoints at the moment. There's no waypoints found because I haven't put any in. But if I click down, there's all sorts of other things I can have here. I'm going to start off with my favorites because this is a good way of sort of having a look at things. So let's have a look on here, and I can select start of my waypoints from here. I'm going to start from home. There's my home. I click the plus button. That goes in as my first waypoint. So if I now change this to waypoints, you'll see home is now my first waypoint. Number 1 start point. If I go back down now to my favorites, I mean, I could pick a load of things out of here. Let's go to the Glanos Cafe at Sennybridge. Okay, already got it in there, so I don't have to find it or anything. Confirm. So I've now got the Glanos Cafe at Sennybridge. All right, and if I zoom in on Google Maps, it'll actually tell me is the Glanos Cafe. Now if I go to either here, default, go on, take it. Doesn't tell me anything there. All it's done is stopped on the A40. If I go to TomTom default, again, no information. This is why I like using Google Maps. And I can also go to satellite view, so I can actually see there's the car park there. Look, so I know I'm actually in it. Yeah. So that's where I've actually put my point actually in the car park. So can you see how useful it is to have all the different maps available? I'm going to stick with Google Maps because it's a good way of having, I think most people sort of know Google Maps quite well now, don't they? Yeah? Alright, so that's the basics. Now I've got a route, okay? But is that the way I want to go? I may want to do this a slightly different way. So let's have a look at this. Let's make this route a little bit more exciting rather than just up the A40. Let's go up over Dragon's Back. Confirm. So, oh, now hang on a minute. What's that little lump on the side? This is one of the dangers of dragging a route like that. it goes off the road. Okay, you need to make sure those points are on the road, otherwise it's going to turn you left and right when you don't want to. And if I go in a bit closer, you'll see I still missed it. So this is something I'll be doing later on. I tidy the route up. Alright, so we've gone up over Dragon's Back. Okay, so that's the first one. So we've now headed up this way. I'm still not happy. I want to go even further afield. So let's go up through Airwood and go up north, up this way. See, I'm dragging the route. What I'm doing, I'm putting what they call shaping points in. Now I'm going to go across through Bellua and back down the 483. Okay. So I'm dragging the route to where I want it to go, and then it's coming back down to Senny Bridge there. But I think that, so can you see that how I've shaped the route? And I'm saying, oh, which way should I go back? Let's go back over the A470. So we'll go back down through this way. Double click, and I've now put my next waypoint in. It always goes to the next waypoint. If I bring the waypoints back up now, you can see how they've started building up. Okay, so we've come back down now. We're back down onto the A465. So we'll come back along here. In fact, I've gone too far, so I know where I want to go. Come back down to Beaufort, and I'm going to come, in fact I'm going to drag that one now over to this road, and I'm going to come back through Glenavon. Yeah, so we come off the Heads of the Valleys road, back into Beaufort, and then back over towards Glenavon. And then my next plot point will be down here, confirm, and then I'm going to go back home again. So I'm going to go back to my favourites, save me looking it up, home, there we go, add it. Yeah, you notice I've got two homes there, because when I start I'll always put home of the top one in, and the second one will be this bottom one, and the reason for that is they're not quite in the same place, so I can actually see them on the map, although I think I've probably picked the same one twice on this one, but never mind. So can you see how this is sort of developing? Now the next thing I need to do, if I go back into the waypoints again, start at home, I've zoomed right in, I can see exactly where it is. So I now go through and tidy the route up. Now one of the things my sat-nav does is all of these waypoints, it reads them out to me 3 times. I can do without all of that in my head, so I reduce what it says there. Number 3, miles off route, tidy it up, put it on route, confirm, yeah, and also edit it, change it, A470, that's all I need there, confirm. Next one, again, where the hell are we here? Let's zoom out. Where's the route? Over there. Look how far that was off route. Okay, A438 Beulah, sorry. Click on it and we're now back on there. Glanas Cafe, Senny Bridge. Yeah, I'm happy there because I've put that one in. See, these are off route. Confirm. And now, again, I didn't change this up here. I don't want all of that. A470 will do me for that one. Confirm. And now bring that one on route. Bryn Mawr, don't want that. Glenavon, that'll do me. Nice bit of Welsh, that'll give the Garmin something to think about. Put that back on the main road. As you notice, the line is not quite on the main road here, but I always put the waypoint on the road as it's shown on the map. And if I'm in any doubt whatsoever, go into Google Maps Hybrid and you can see there's the road. It's actually on the photograph. So that line is just a little bit off, but don't worry about that. So go back to Google Maps. I'm happy with that. So that's Carmarthen. Confirm. And then home again. Okay, so I've now got a route in. Now then, the next thing I'll be looking at is the possibility of it shortcutting me. Now, satellite navigation systems are terrible for finding shortcuts that you don't want to take. So I always start adding in a lot of extra waypoints. Now for this one, for instance, I think with this one I'm going to stop at the owl's nest. So I'm going to drag it over there. Okay, confirm. So now we're going to stop at the owl's nest. That's going to force it to come out that way. I'm also going to chuck a couple of extra waypoints in. Yeah, because it will not shortcut me if I've got plenty of waypoints. And that's one of the big drawbacks of sat-navs. Now you can see here, if I left that there and there, that would be a possibility it could take me on a different route. So what I've done, there's the route it could have gone, there's the route I want it to go. Okay, so that's all done now. So we've now got quite a lot of waypoints in this area. Now I know that the 470 is not going to do very much, and probably the 465 I don't really need to go on those, but I'm going to anyway. I'm just going to make sure that I just want to stay on the 465. We're heading down the Pontypool, that's fine. Going up through this way, I know it's not going to make a lot of difference that way, but I do know we're going to need to have some waypoints here because there are alternative routes. Do I want the A40 or do I want to go up through Gilworm Way? You know, so there's lots of options. If there's options, make sure that the sat nav knows where you want it to go. As long as you're happy that this is the route you want, then just make sure you've got plenty of waypoints in there. Now I would go in and I would tidy all of these up again afterwards. I'm not going to do that now. I've shown you how I tidy up with just a few waypoints. The reason I did it with just a few waypoints is because I could have been there forever doing the same thing over and over again on all of these waypoints I've just put in. This makes sure my sat-nav knows where I'm going and what I'm doing. Okay. Right, having created this route, I can do several things with it. Now there's lots of things. There's a toolkit there that will allow you to do lots of different things. I'm not going to go into the complications of that now. Save as. The things I send out normally, I send you a PDF, which is a route itinerary, and also I'll send out a GPX1 route, which is something you can upload into your own navigation device, whatever you have. Alright. Now there are lots of different ones on here. The reason I send GPX1 is compatible with practically everything. GPX 1.1 is a better upgraded system, but I know it plays up on Garmin. You know, so I tend not to use it because it just doesn't work properly. On my up-to-date Garmin, the very latest Garmin, I still use the old GPX1 because it works nicely. Sometimes upgrades are not always an advantage. So I would export. So if I wanted to export that, if I came across, you can see it gives me a folder. This is where I keep all my GPX routes are stored before I send them out or whatever I do with them. And bing, they're all in there. So I just save it. I don't want to save this because I don't want this route saved for anything. It tells you up here how far the distance is. It's 136 miles, 3 hours 40 minutes approximately riding time. Something to bear in mind if you're doing a route. Do people want to sit in the saddle for 3.5 hours? I would say 2.5 maximum, because you're going to be doing other things. It's going to be a longish day anyway. 2.5 hours in the saddle, about 100 miles, I would say is approximately the right distance for a day's ride. So that's your save as. The next thing is export. So click on export, and this is where you can send it directly to your navigation device. Plug it in on your USB into the computer. Once it's loaded up and it's connected, the first thing this will do is ask you to install a connector. Now I've already got my connector installed, so I don't need to do this. So you'd either install it for Windows or for Mac. Next thing you do is you open the route. So that route now opens in this little connector. Alright. Now you can see up the moment it's got TomTom itinerary. That's what I used to use all the time for my TomTom. However, I tend to use Garmin 1, GPX1, Garmin Old for my device. I would then click export to a device. I can't click that now because I haven't got a device connected and I don't want it to export it anyway. It will come up. Yeah, that'll turn to say busy, and eventually after some time, if it's a Garmin, very quick if it's a TomTom, it will come up with a little screen saying exported to device, enjoy. So you can then close that screen down that comes up in the middle and close that one down. That's now on your device. It's now up to you to work out how to use it on your device and install it. Your Garmin will lead you through how to put it into your routes and tracks. But that's the basis on how to plan a route. Lots and lots of waypoints, lots of them. Otherwise, it's going to take you where you don't want to go. Trust me, it will always find a shortcut that you haven't seen. And it will still do it even if you've got all this lot, to be fair. But it gives you an idea of how to plan a route. Now I hope that was useful. If you want any further, please let me know. I'm now going to switch the video off. Bye for now.